Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of the Frankie V podcast. And boy, oh boy, do we got one today. All right, let me explain to you all something really quick. Last night, I got some food poisoning, right? So I woke up a few times. I don't want to give too many details. Ate something bad. Not sure if it was the halal I got, the pizza sandwich. I don't know. Whatever. I ate a little bit too much yesterday, too. Besides the point, I was in and out all night last night. My sleep schedule was completely off this morning. Put my phone to the side, tried to get some rest, whatever. The only 2-hour period, or within that hour, from 9 to 11, that I've never been around my phone happened to be this morning, right? This morning was the only time in years that I'm not at my phone at 10 a.m., 10:15. Seriously, I'm always on my phone at 10:15. What ends up happening? I mean, the fact that I wasn't around when this news dropped. And the news I'm talking about is Robert Saleh was fired. Fired. After going 2-3. Was fired by an owner that hasn't fired a coach in season ever. Ever. I mean, you have people that have been saying all year, that were saying in the offseason, oh, there's no way Robert Saleh is going to get fired. Woody's never done it before. There's no chance that's going to happen. Ding dong. Ding dong. Things change. Woody did something that he should have done. People change. People get better. People think. People listen. People adapt. Our owner made the right move. 1,000,000% made the right move. Robert Saleh was a bad head coach. Can we throw that out there? Robert Saleh didn't do enough to prepare his teams to win. Robert Saleh didn't do enough to mentally motivate his players. Robert Saleh didn't do enough to tame the media in New York. Robert Saleh didn't do enough winning. Robert Saleh didn't do enough developing. When Robert Saleh called Zach Wilson on draft day, what did Robert tell Zach? I'm going to do whatever I can to make you into a star, man. He didn't actually say that. I don't know the exact words. Whatever. You get the point. He told Zach, I'm going to be your guy. You're going to come here and we are going to freaking dice it up. And what happened? Zach failed. Today, Robert Saleh failed. They're not failures. Okay, let's put that out of the way. I don't think Zach Wilson for his career will be a failure. Why? We said the same thing about Geno Smith. We said the same thing about Sam Darnold. Sometimes people leave and they get better opportunities, or they actually learn how to play the quarterback position. Maybe you don't start these kids so soon. Maybe that's really the issue here with some of these quarterbacks we bring in. Maybe they needed those 3-4 years, because after 3-4 years, when we get rid of them, their 5th, 6th year somewhere else, they do well. Not the point. Robert Saleh failed in developing Zach Wilson. Robert Saleh failed in disciplining his team. The New York Jets at this point, we have the most penalties in the NFL since last season, over 160 penalties. Ridiculous. The Jets offense has scored the least amount of points per game since Robert Saleh has been the head coach here, 2021 till now. Robert Saleh's teams have turned the ball over the most since he got here. What's the owner supposed to do? Now, I didn't want Robert Saleh here to start the year. I thought after that athletic report came out, that 30 anonymous sources, and I'm not someone that really cares too much about what some of these mainstream-esque outlets are reporting. However, 30 anonymous sources to me was insanity. And then what happened at the, was it the owners meeting a few weeks later? Robert and Woody got into something, which was, I think part of that story had to do with it. So I said, this guy has no control right now of that organization. Okay? When I say no control of the organization, I don't just mean the locker room. I mean locker room, ownership, GM, your coaching staff. It's an ecosystem. He has no control of the Jets ecosystem, which you're in the middle of. Okay? You're the CEO. You're the coach. You're not necessarily the most important person in the franchise. Obviously, that's the owner. The GM's more important than you too, in some ways, in most ways, actually. You're, though, the glue. The head coach is the glue to ownership, to the GM, to the coaches, to the players. It's a cycle. What's that movie? Whatever. It's a circle. It's an ecosystem. You're the glue. There was no glue there, man. There was nothing. Players didn't get better underneath Robert Saleh for the most part. Garrett Wilson hasn't gone better. Sauce Gardner hasn't gone better. Quinnen Williams hasn't gone better. Breece Hall hasn't gone better. Really, nobody's gotten better. The only players that I would say that have gotten better are players that are playing for something, trying to prove, trying to get new deals, XYZ. Robert Saleh has not made enough people, stars on this team, better. You cannot win depending on Jamien Sherwoods and these Brandon Eccles, etc. You need Quinnen after getting his money to get better. You need Garrett to be the wide receiver 1A or 1A plus, which he can be. You need Breece to turn into the stud that he could be. You need Sauce to start getting interceptions and really being looked at as one of the best corners in the game, changing games. At this point, your stars are content with where they're at. The only ones that are playing better are the ones that need to prove something. So your players are not playing better. They're underachieving. This Jets roster is one of the most talented rosters I've seen in 25 years. Okay, in 30 years. One of the best Jets rosters ever. You can't tell me that they should be 2-3. You can't tell me that you lose like we've been losing. The head coach is the center, is the CEO, is the glue to ownership, players, staff, GM. You're the coach. You're the CEO. You're the center of this, and you got to keep everything in circle, in full circle. It's a cycle. Okay? You are reporting to certain elements there. You're keeping everyone on the same trajectory. You might give them some sort of North Star, some sort of place that you feel like this thing can go, as big as this thing can get. You're the center of that. You're making everybody look worse. You are. Robert Saleh, players look worse. The owner looks worse. The GM looks worse. Your staff looks worse. Right? Has Robert Saleh, outside of Quincy Williams and Jamien Sherwood, has Robert Saleh made anybody really this year, at this point, look better, look more favorable to other teams, to other fans? No, he hasn't. That's why you had to fire him. Robert Saleh is affecting other people's jobs, other people's pockets, other people's bags, other people's opportunities, other people's aspirations. This isn't about winning a game or losing a game. This is about affecting people's businesses, affecting people's livelihoods, affecting people's pockets, families, however you want to explain it. You are not going to last in any operation when you're consistently underperforming. You are. The win-loss record speaks for itself, 20-36. And to kind of go over what happened, so wasn't the biggest fan really of how this went down. I don't like emotionally charged firings, or when you sort of had enough and you sort of just got to make it a big sort of scene. I think give people some opportunities to leave on some sort of good note. Not saying that he left on a bad note. It just seems that way. So what ended up happening was Robert Saleh was fired this morning, October 8th, 2024. Apparently he went to Florham as a normal work day. And Woody and Christopher Johnson, Woody's brother, who actually hired Robert Saleh, although with the blessing of Woody, who was being the ambassador for Trump in London, and Joe D. But for all purposes, it was Christopher Johnson's hire. So Chris and Woody informed Robert of their decision that they were going to fire him. Robert had no idea. So some outlets described it as a sort of blindsiding. Take that for what it is. This is the first time in Woody Johnson's tenure as the owner of the Jets, 25 years, that he has fired a head coach during the season. In season, Saleh did not have the opportunity to speak to any of his players or coaches after his firing. Again, I'll read it again. Saleh did not have the opportunity to speak to players or coaches after his firing. That's weird, right? What that tells me is he was doing a really bad job. He was rubbing a lot of people there the wrong way. Those 30 anonymous sources are probably players and coaches that are currently on the team. Because when they fired him, they had they thought they had the inkling or the perception that don't put this guy out there anymore for these people, for these players and coaches. Nobody wants him here anymore. Get him out as fast as you can. If they knew, if the ownership knew, if Joe Douglas knew that Robert Saleh had a really good relationship with players and coaches, and there was actually a good vibe there, a loving vibe, a brotherhood, they wouldn't fire him and not have him at least talk to his players and coaches. That is very telling to me. It could be that he did have a very good relationship and they were just unaware and didn't give him the opportunity to speak with them. That would be odd for me to believe, but it could be. But contrary to rumors that Robert was escorted out by security, and I knew that when I saw that security was escorting him out. No, come on, like that's weird to me. Like, what did he steal something out of Joe Douglas's office and they caught him on camera? It was just, I knew that was off when I read that earlier today. What ended up happening, which Rich Cimini reported, is the head of security just walked him to his car, which is standard protocol. Fair enough. When you get fired, you're technically no longer employed by the team. So interestingly enough, earlier Tuesday morning, before the firing, this is where things get a little interesting here. Saleh reportedly decided via Connor Hughes, SNY, decided to give play calling duties to Todd Downing, the passing games coordinator and quarterbacks coach. So Robert came in this morning, Tuesday morning, October 8th, 2024, came into Florham Park and was going to tell Nathaniel Hackett Rodgers' boy, yo, you're not calling plays anymore. Todd is. And then Connor Hughes is reporting that 5 minutes later, around 5 minutes later, he writes, but even 10 minutes later, Woody Johnson and Christopher were there and called Robert into their office to fire him. Now, this is just also weird to me because you're thinking about this, and I'm reading what people are saying, so you know what people are assuming, right? That when somebody found out that Saleh was going to demote Nathaniel Hackett and give the play calling duties to Todd Downing, that they were going to call up Aaron Rodgers, Nathaniel Hackett's boy, and say, do you know what Saleh's going to do right now? And then Rodgers is calling Woody, and then they're doing a firing thereafter. Listen, I don't know if that's true or not, but based on this timeline, I find it difficult to believe, if this is true, that within 5 minutes, make it a half hour, that information would get to Rodgers, which would then get to Woody, which would then be the catalyst that caused Saleh to be fired. I like some conspiracies. That seems very far-fetched to me. But what doesn't seem far-fetched is that Rodgers was involved in this. Now, it's not been speculated, reported. It's not even really much being assumed by the media that Rodgers was at all consulted here, was at all involved. The only person that was consulted in this decision to fire Robert Saleh was Joe Douglas. That's been reported. But Rodgers has steered clear of any allegations here or any speculations here that he was at all consulted or involved in the firing of Robert Saleh. I find that very hard to believe. You know why? It's simple. Rodgers is the alpha head honcho there. Rodgers is the guy there. Rodgers, that's like saying if you ran a restaurant, your head chef is not involved when you're changing your oil for all your food. You're really going to make me believe that? You're really going to have us believe that the head chef, the owner, didn't talk to the head chef about changing all the oil for all the meals? Come on. I mean, I know that's BS. Rodgers was 1,000,000% at least notified of this. Aaron, we're doing this. Thumbs up, thumbs down? No thumbs up or thumbs down. We're free to kind of do. You're 50-50. We can do what we want. He knew. 100%. Now, what people are also assuming is their relationship, Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh, was fractured. And it started when Saleh had comments about Rodgers going to Egypt, kind of didn't back Rodgers up. And this sort of spilled into these cadence comments again that Saleh's just being a little bit too open and Rodgers didn't like it. So people are assuming that there's something there, that Rodgers and Saleh's relationship was fractured. That then led to Rodgers saying the accountability comments last week. And then Quincy said the accountability comments again this week, piggybacking off of what Rodgers said. Was the relationship fractured there, or was the relationship not the same? If you read Rodgers' book, the Rodgers book, which I haven't yet, I don't really read all that much anymore. I probably should. I mean, they say reading's good, right? I don't read. I don't know why. I wish I did. Maybe I'm going to start, actually. But apparently, in the Rodgers book, they say Rodgers is very cold when it comes to alienating people. So if he feels that you've done him wrong, that you've wronged him, that you've screwed him over, that he doesn't completely trust you anymore, he'll literally put you in a corner and erase you, quote unquote, is what I think the book said, something like that. Was Saleh erased? I mean, he's erased now. So yeah, with that, I'll kind of finish this up with this report. I'm actually going through notes that I had from these reports. Usually I'm unscripted, but I just want to give all the correct details. So Woody Johnson addressed the media today after the firing and said that this was his decision and his decision alone. Though he consulted with GM Joe Douglas, Woody emphasized this is one of the most talented teams the New York Jets have ever assembled, and he believed the change was necessary to bring in new energy and positivity for more wins. Agreed. He's 100% right there. This is one of the most talented teams. This is an underachieving team. This has been an underachieving team. I think last year we even should have made the playoffs. There's no excuses with this roster, and I'm sick of giving excuses for this team with this roster. Then he talked a little bit about Jeff Ulbrich, the vibe Jeff Ulbrich would bring, and the key thing he said is how Jeff Ulbrich is very in tune and has the trust of the players. He's very connected. He has a respect of the locker room, which he brought up a few times. Makes you think maybe Saleh didn't have the respect of the locker room if that was one of the key things he liked about Ulbrich. Wink, wink. According to Jordan Schultz, one reason for Saleh's early dismissal was to give Ulbrich some more time to turn things around. It's week 8, so they feel like with 12 games left, they can it's week 5, excuse me. That with 12 games left, they can turn things around. So yeah, I mean, listen, in all, and last point, there's speculation. This is the funniest point. There's speculation that because the Jets lost in London, and Eric Mangini alluded to this yesterday, that because the Jets lost in London, that this was that game was sort of like the must-win for Saleh because all Woody's friends, being that he was the ambassador in London for Trump, were all there, and it made Woody look bad. And when he's having tea and crumpets, or whatever the hell they call it, with his friends, they're gonna laugh at him and say, "Ha ha ha! You guys still suck." I don't know. At this point, I don't even care. I don't care about most of these rumors, to be honest. What I do care about is I think this was the right move. I think this puts the team in a better position to win football games. That's all I care about. So the Jets right now, with Jeff Ulbrich, we're at a point where I just think things are looking better. And why do I think things are looking better? Why? I think things are looking better due to one thing, and this is the buzzword, but let's get into the buzzword: accountability. Accountability. What is the definition of accountability, Frankie? All right, let's go. Accountability, the definition is the fact or condition of being accountable, obviously, responsible. So what is the definition of accountable? Accountable. Accountable means required or expected to justify actions or decisions. Responsible. Parents could be held accountable for their children's actions, is what the dictionary says. Robert Saleh has to be held accountable. And all right, and just getting into right now with Jeff Ulbrich, let's just and listen, this move had to happen. Why did this move have to happen? And getting into my last sort of point, where does this team go from here? Because I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, what's Jeff Ulbrich going to do for this offense? He's a defensive guy just like Saleh, so what's the difference?" I'm going to give you the difference, okay? And I'm going to let you do let you understand it on your own terms. Put up a video of Robert Saleh talking about the team, and then watch a video of Jeff Ulbrich talking about the team. Do that. Watch a few videos of each. Go ahead. You tell me when Nate Hackett and Rodgers have to go into their meeting with the head coach to go over their game plan, you tell me which one of those two, Robert Saleh or Jeff Ulbrich, would you have to prepare a little bit more for? Would you have to try to impress just a little bit more? Would you put just a little bit more in terms of the hours you're putting in for that game plan? You tell me. You tell me who's a little more scary, who makes you feel like you might have to be a little bit better or might have to think through this a little bit more. That's it. Trust me. And you know what? It's a very fan or outsider thing to kind of say, but we people have said this about Robert Saleh, about how he is based on what you see. He's too nice. He lets people get away with murder, quote unquote. He doesn't keep players accountable. And honestly, Kimberly Martin was at the Jets facility, I think a few weeks ago, and said, there's a college vibe here. It's like a fraternity. It's fun. It's loose, but it's a little bit much. Yeah, he's the substitute teacher. It works in some ways, and players like that. Players like Rob, because you don't want to play for Belichick. It's annoying. He's a jerk. He's an asshole. You don't want to have to show up on time every day and have him grill you in the face and it's like it can make you feel like you're not yourself. You feel uncomfortable around those guys sometimes, or those coaches. Robert's cool. You can do whatever you want, even if you're late a few minutes. He's cool. He's chill. You have to go pick up your wife somewhere. Maybe he'll let you leave practice early. He's that kind of guy. Belichick's not. Players like the Rob way more than the Belichick way. The difference is some players know that the Rob way doesn't work. It's too loose. You're not accountable. You're not putting in the extra time for a game plan. And it shows based on the win-loss. When players go play for Bill Belichick, when players go play for Sean McVay, when players go play for John or Jim Harbaugh, Kyle Shanahan, when players play for these guys, they know that all of those little annoyances or those things that, oh, really, coach, I got to do this. Really, you're giving me shit for this. They know that just by going through that on the other side comes winning, comes stats, which players want, comes notoriety, and that's what they want. Comes championships. Being a player's coach in New York is very tough. And listen, I feel a little bit for Rob, although people are like, oh, screw him, he's getting paid XYZ. I know. I understand that. I'm sort of with you on that. But I do feel for the guy that this wasn't the right town for him. This town's too much. It is. And the only way you do it is you got to be an asshole. That's it. You got to hold things in check. Like I was talking about, you have to be that glue, and you got to be super glue here. You got to be a freaking prick. You have to be Bill Parcells that tells media members to go F themselves and not, staying close with your Joe Beningo, Saleh, after he ousted your private text messages. Man, you should have sent him a text back so fast to go F himself. No, but you were nice. Nice guys finish last, and they definitely finished last in New York. Can't be a nice guy here as a head coach. You can't. When Rex got nice, he got worse. When Rex was they say when Rex was fat and an asshole, he was better. It's kind of true. Tom Coughlin was a jerk. Tom Thibodeau's the most successful coach right now in New York. He's a jerk, kind of. He is a jerk, actually. Not in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, a jerk meaning, I don't care. Show up on time. Be 10 minutes early. And if you're not, I don't care what the reason is. Show me this game plan. What is this? Why? Are you stupid? Make this better. You're too good for this. Yada, yada. It's a tough place. Nobody cares about you out here, unfortunately. Someone bumps into you, they tell you to go F yourself. You might have your kids with you. They don't care out here. I mean, out here, I'm in Queens. New York City, they don't care. There's too many people. The rents are too high. The sandwiches cost $17.50 for a turkey cheese on a hero. Pizza's $6 a slice. You think rents are studios are going for $3,000 a month? Do you think people have time to hear you, Robert Saleh, consistently saying, "We'll get it fixed. We'll figure it out. We'll get it fixed. We'll figure it out. We'll get it fixed. We'll get it fixed. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out." It's over. It is over. We'll get it fixed. What are you going to get fixed? I used to use "we'll get it fixed" starting my business years ago. We'll get it fixed without any real strategy. We'll get it fixed is code word. I want to get it fixed. I think I could figure it out, and that's what I'm going to tell you because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. That's literally what it is. It's good because it gives someone confidence that you're going to get it fixed. It's bad because you're not giving them any specificities on how you're going to get it fixed. Never heard this guy one time say anything that has enlightened me. I've never heard Robert talk about what the team needs to do from an X's and O's perspective, defensively or offensively. Never heard him really call out a player that ended up playing better. Never really heard him mention anything about himself and the fact that he's been looking at himself in the mirror and stuff that he wants to do better. Never. It's always about the weather. It's always somewhat about the quarterback and the offense, or unjustly about the defense. Robert, and this is my send-off. Life is hard. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody is going to come into New York and win right away and always win. Nobody always wins. You're going to win, you're going to lose. You're going to lose, you're going to win. I mean, that's how life is. No one's just going to come in and win all the time. The reason it didn't work for you here, I don't think it was a great match, A. B, I don't really think you looked at yourself in the mirror and admitted to yourself what you needed to do with this team, and you were not confident enough in your abilities to deliver that message. That's what I think happened. And if you did look in the mirror, we never got that message. And that's what's tough about life. That to me is it's you might look at yourself in the mirror and understand what you need to do, what the team needs to do, and you really know it. But from that point, if you get there, that's step one. Step two is then delivering the message or putting things into action. Cause and effect. It's tough. It's tough to have tough conversations with people. Hey, Brees, you're not playing well. We're on the goal line. We're going to go to the rookie. Hey, Aaron and Nate, I didn't like last week's game plan. Can we do something drastically different this week? Hey, Quinnen, you just got paid a boatload of money. Where are you at, man? I mean, Sauce, I love you. I love your personality. You're exactly where this league's going, and you're one of the best corners in the game. Can you tone it down a little bit with social media, please? Just a little bit, man. Trust me, it'll help you moving forward. The tweets will never do you justice. As you know, you end up deleting a bunch of them. Stop that. Malachi Corley, sorry you're not playing, man. We're going to figure it out. Don't post those stories. They make us look bad on Instagram. That's what he needed to do, and he didn't do it. That's it. I know he didn't do it because you see it every damn week. With that, I'm going to sign off. Jeff Ulbrich, listen, the offense can't get worse. Impossible. The only thing is maybe the defense could tail off a bit because his energy's going to, not tail off in a bad way, but maybe they won't be as I don't know, they won't be as stout as they've been. But I also think like not being as stout in certain areas, even though they're not that stout really, like against the run, we get gashed and we don't turn the ball over. We don't force turnovers, excuse me. Maybe by not being as like bend but don't break, maybe they'll break a little bit more but get more turnovers. Maybe they'll play a little bit better. Maybe less of Ulbrich being so hands-on allows these guys to kind of like be a little more loose out there on defense and not be so like pressed. And if the offense can get a little better, then maybe the defense could play a little more loose, which we need. We need Sauce to be a little bit more loose. We need Quinnen to be a little bit more loose. You know, you want these guys to not feel like they have to do what they just been doing and that's it. So maybe a little bit less of Ulbrich on defense. Maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. And when the offense gets better, you're going to put yourself in positions where maybe we'll be up 17-0 to a team, and then our defense could really go off a little bit. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I mean, but yeah, with that said, another episode of the Frankie V podcast. I just wanted to get this out. I was supposed to go on the New York Post Sports this morning for this live break, and I couldn't make it. Wasn't feeling well earlier in the day. Just a weird day for me, to be honest. One of the weirdest days actually in Jets football history. We haven't seen this. I was shocked. I'm still shocked. I'm curious where this is gonna go. But I think it'll be better. I think that Jeff Ulbrich has a great opportunity here to make something of himself. And there's a common theme with this Jets team. If you have to prove something, you'll show something. And then that's what we need right now. We need to show the world something, and I think things will work out. But yeah, with that being said, checking off Frankie V podcast. We outie, and I'll see y'all soon. I'll be on the post game after the Jets game on Sunday. We got the Buffalo Bills, which will be an interesting game on. Actually, it's Monday night. Excuse me, I should have known that. I'll be on Monday night, so we'll be on at like 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m. ish. Me and Ryan Sampson from the New York Post Sports. And yeah, with that, I'm signing off. Have a good week, and I shall see y'all soon. Later.